1 week, nothing's really changed.
Do you feel good about where your team is on the road?
We've had one road course.
So after today,
after today, no, today kind of sucked a little bit. So try to figure out where that speed is and what I can do to improve that and what we can do as a team to improve that. So I would say Coda and Sonoma are two incredibly different racetracks, and try and learn how we can improve.
Austin, this is your first time here. What's been the consensus? What have you learned to this point?
I think that's a good question. Can't say I've quite put it together yet, honestly. That practice session happened really fast, and go into qualifying and kind of have a grip on where things are. And but yeah, I think I've got some homework to do tonight.
The conditions are going to be completely different tomorrow. Cooler, a lot cooler. What are you expecting out there tomorrow? And what can you take from maybe what you just saw out there on the track into tomorrow?
Yeah, I think the cooler temps, here historically, the track temp has been fairly sensitive. So I think from a tire wear standpoint, whether overcut or undercut in race strategy, I think that probably numbs some of that out a little bit.
Are you going for stage points or the race win? What's the strategy going to be tomorrow?
I think it really depends on how kind of your first stage plays out. Like going for stage points, you can usually bank on it in stage 1, and if you're good enough, you can probably recover by stage 3. Whereas stage 2, it's kind of pretty much showing that you don't feel like you can be competitive. So I think we'll play that as it goes. Obviously not starting as far up as we'd want to be, so try and play that by ear and probably be more reactive than most.
What's the art of road course racing where, fans are watching it and they're like, you're pretty good at it? The idiosyncrasies of this course and what makes it interesting to you?
I think the thing that makes this racetrack interesting and tracks like it, I probably relate some to Mid-Ohio, just a lot of elevation change, a lot of blind corners, rises, kind of catering to the camber and the hills of the road, not necessarily the geometry of the corners. So I've always had a lot of fun at racetracks like that just because it's very dynamic and your car has to be set up in a certain way, and it's a good change of pace.
Yeah. So how do you look at Nashville? Coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, my first time there was last year in the Xfinity car, so certainly interested to see, kind of second time back. I think the racetrack moves around quite a bit. I think it's either a really big short track or a really small intermediate, depending, I guess, on how your car's driving.
Nashville put on quite a show last year. Are you expecting something similar, considering this car's done really well on the intermediate tracks? Yeah,
to that point, I feel like some of our short tracks have certainly struggled with dirty air, and as far as multi-lane racing and air blocking and so on, as far as our intermediates have gone, when we've had multi-lane racetracks, the racing has been really good. So I think Nashville is certainly the pinch point. Is it an intermediate or is it a short track? And I think me, including the race fans, are open to saying intermediate.
What do you think they can do to fix the short track racing?
I think some of it is just understanding the cars more and the tires more. We're going into all of this with a first shot, whether if that's Goodyear, whether if that's us from a race team standpoint, whether if that's setup wise, aero wise, so all of those things. And when you're not optimizing your race car because you've shown up and practiced for 10 minutes, you're probably relying on more of the downforce than anything else. So I think as we learn these cars, I think they'll become a little different. But like I said, anytime you can have multiple groups on the racetrack, it's certainly going to help. And I feel like in Nashville and the Cup races certainly had that.
Here at this track, I mean, you're sweating right now, and you just got done with qualifying. It is hot out. It'll be cooler on Sunday, but is it physically grueling? Can you kind of define what it's like in the car at these tracks? You go slinging around and, I've only taken pace car rides, but I think I'm going to hit the wall and spin out every single time.
Yeah, it's certainly fun. I would say, just being on pit road and obviously strapped in the car. You're inside of basically a plastic box with all the windshields in the car and the right side windows. So, it gets fairly warm pretty quickly. But I'm kind of a sweater anyway. I was that kid in PE that I'd run one lap around the track and I'd be sweating, but I wouldn't be tired. So I would like to think that I'm pretty good in the heat. But otherwise, I would say that when we did Coda, I haven't really run any of the cool shirts or any of that kind of stuff because I haven't really felt the need to. And after Coda, I kind of marked the road courses as, I'd probably benefit from that. So this is my first weekend having an umbilical board, so we'll see how that goes.
So far, how has it been?
I haven't used it. So.
Oh, you haven't used it yet? Oh.
Just made sure I was comfortable in the car, and we don't have any practice, so I don't really get to try these things. So
you were sweating in PE, and you said, I think I'll be a race car driver?
I think I just liked watching racing, and that's what led to that.
So you say a road course is a lot of fun, but when you're sitting in there making the turns, and are you sitting there thinking, boy, this is fun, or are you concentrating so hard that the fun comes later?
I would say the mark of a good racetrack is or a good race car, is if there's at least one corner you look forward to going to every lap.
What would that corner be for here?
Today it would be turn 3A and B and 8 and 9.
Well, which of the two is more fun?
I would probably say 3A and 3B because it might give me a chance to pass somebody tomorrow.
What about this new chute? Is that
New, old, depending on I guess
yeah,
when you've
the return.
been watching, but it's new to me. I think it's the right move. I think the what I would call the IndyCar track layout is a bit too twisty. Gives us an opportunity to have more passing zones.
Looking forward to the next few weekends. You talked about Nashville, but we got a road course this weekend, and then we got Road America coming up. Very narrow track. Is that more of a track of just not making mistakes, or trying to just drive and be more aggressive?
I'd say Road America is every type of corner, every type of mentality you can have over the course of 4 miles. So I don't think there's one way to be, but and you can be good on one half of the racetrack and not good on another half of the racetrack. So I really enjoy going there because you just have to sometimes deal with the problems that you have, and obviously, like you said, not making mistakes is huge because the lap is so long. So every little bit adds up over an entire lap.
Can you talk about your win at Road America and what you remember of that? Because Cup cars go back for a second time, but you won there.
Yeah, Road America is an awesome racetrack. It's definitely cool to be able to win there. It's a part of the country that I feel like really needed a Cup race as far as just Wisconsin, Minnesota. There's a big short track following in that part of the country, and it was fun to be able to go there, be a part of the first Cup race there. I would say 2020 was awesome, obviously winning the race. I've come really close there quite a few times, finally get it done. 2021 was the emotional damage, and from Saturday to losing the race we should have won, to leading laps in the Cup race and having a mechanic failure in the lead. So I'm looking forward to getting back there and having a good weekend.
What's the toughest part of that track? What's the toughest part of Road America?
I'd say in the past, it's probably been the tire wear, just because the lap's so long, but it's just hard to put a lap together. It's that simple. When you got 4 miles, it's that many more corners to make mistakes.
Is that track harder than, say, the Sonoma racetrack we just visited?
It certainly provides different challenges.
Any plans for the off weekend?
I'm going to Montreal to watch Formula One Grand Prix for the first time, so looking forward to that. I've watched obviously a lot of IndyCar races, a lot of NASCAR races in my life. Never been to an F1 Grand Prix, so just happened to fall on an off weekend. So me and my brother are kind of making a vacation out of it, and imagine that I'm going to a racetrack on my off weekend.
You got good passes for it?
Yes.
So you said your first F1 race you've been to?
Yes.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.